This video is going to be about what happens at an EDP or early disposition proceeding. My name is Veronica. I am a criminal defense attorney here in Los Angeles, and I help people who have been arrested put their criminal cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. Now, if you have a criminal case in California, you may have heard that your case is going to be set or has been set for an EDP or early disposition proceeding. And you're probably wondering, well, what is that? What does that mean? Okay, so here's what it is. An EDP is a chance to resolve the case, for the prosecutor to give you an offer and for you to either accept it or decide that you're going to keep fighting. Now, criminal courts in California have an interest in having, in fact, they're set up so that most cases have to resolve before trial. Trials take weeks, months. They clog up the court's time from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So although there may be thousands of people who are charged with crimes, most of those cases are not going to go to trial. They're going to resolve somehow before that. So the EDP is after your first court date. They'll set this case sometimes, depending on which courthouse you're at, for this early disposition proceeding. Now, this is a chance for your attorney to talk to the prosecutor about your case and to advocate for the best possible offer. So your attorney needs to try to convince the prosecutor to, depending on the case, reduce the charge to something less serious or something that can be removed from your record later on, less jail or prison time, no jail or prison time, give you a program like mental health, drug treatment, alcohol treatment instead of incarceration, reduce or remove fines, and sometimes actually dismiss the case altogether. It's a chance for everyone to talk specifically about this issue. Can we resolve the case? What does the prosecution want? What does the defense want? So what does your attorney need to do? Now, to me, it is really important that I spend quite a bit of time preparing for one of these EDPs, because the amount of time that I spend, the amount of preparation that I've done in advance can make a huge difference in the outcome of the case. I need to be ready to explain the good things about my client. I need to have all of those ready and know them. I need to be able to explain to the prosecutor, and this is where a lot of the time comes in, weaknesses in the case. If, for example, the complaining witness was inconsistent, perhaps there are multiple witnesses and they have different accounts of what happened. This is the chance to bring all of that up to the prosecutor to show, hey, we have some leverage here. I'm not just telling you good things about my client and saying, please, please give him a program. I'm also telling you, your case may not be as strong as you think. Now, in addition, I want to explain any hardships that my client has experienced, especially if my client does have criminal history, especially if my client has gone to prison or it's a really serious case. Usually in those cases, I have found that the client, went through something, didn't have necessarily an easy upbringing, or something happened at some point in their lives that led to them either having prior criminal history or for this being a serious offense here. For my clients who are out of custody, usually I will send them to some type of class, some type of program, whether it's AA, domestic violence counseling, NA, outpatient treatment programs for drugs or alcohol, sometimes parenting classes, anger management. So this is my opportunity to have the prosecutor's ear and show them, hey, look, my client, unlike most of the people in this room, has been doing all of these classes. They weren't ordered to, they chose to do this. They had a wake-up call when this case came about and they realized they need to get on a better path. And all of these things that I'm saying, sometimes I'm sure that some of you are thinking, well, aren't you admitting that your client is guilty? No, not really. And anything that I say during this EDP, anything that I say to the prosecutor about my client, my client made a mistake here. He shouldn't have been drinking so much, but there was a death in his family. He wasn't planning to drive. And then, all of this cannot be used against my client. So it makes sense to, in most cases, to bring these kinds of things up with the prosecutor. And I also want to, and this is only in most cases, but if my client, let's say it's a domestic violence case, and my client says, well, I was acting in self-defense. He or she was pushing me, hitting me, and I was just trying to stop them. And my client has pictures of bruises, cuts. This is the time that I want to show that to the prosecutor and say, look, this really was a case of self-defense. My client has been going to all these domestic violence classes, has a good job, went through these hardships. Whatever it is, I want to take this opportunity to explain all of that. And when I'm showing that evidence that my client has, like, for example, pictures, that's another thing that's telling the DA, hey, maybe my case isn't quite as strong as the police made it seem in the police report. And that gains my client some leverage. So we're not just begging for mercy. We're saying, hey, look, your case is not that strong. And also, here are all the reasons that make it a little bit easier for the prosecutor to give this client a second chance. In addition to photos, other common evidence is sometimes text messages. Now, text messages, many times it's not necessarily like open and shut. My client's definitely not guilty, but sometimes, the victim says my client did something really bad, and victim is the legal term. It doesn't mean that I actually believe that they are the victim, but the person who my client supposedly did something bad to will tell the police, oh my God, he or she did this and that. It was horrible. This is the worst thing ever. This is such a horrible person. And then text that person, sometimes repeatedly. And that can be something useful because the prosecutor knows, hey, that's going to weaken the case in front of a jury. That's going to be something that the jury is going to look at and wonder what exactly was going on here. Now, sometimes there will be more than one of these EDPs, these early disposition proceedings, for a variety of reasons. Sometimes I had a case a few weeks ago where the prosecutor who was assigned to the case wasn't there. They had somebody else. So I want to make sure my client has the advantage of having this EDP because, to me, for defendants, these EDPs are good things, okay? Because that is usually the point where you are going to get your best offer in the case. Not always, but usually this is the time where they're telling you, okay, this is the specific court for settlement. So this is where we give good offers. This is where we talk about the case, where we're willing to listen to the good things about the client and give them an offer here. And in every single case, sometimes I'll have a client that will say, well, look, I don't want any offers. I want to fight this until the end. Okay, that's fine. And I understand that. I respect that. Especially when you really didn't do it, you're being falsely accused of something. I totally understand that, but it is still my job, and I think it's every defense attorney's job to try to see what the prosecution will offer. Try to get the best possible deal on the table. Doesn't mean your client has to take it, doesn't mean your client wants to take it, but what it does mean is that your client, if he or she gets scared at the last minute and realizes, oh my God, I don't know if I want to go to trial. Sometimes they're facing a lot of time. They haven't been forced to go to trial. They had a way out. And I want to make sure that my clients always have that option. And actually, I say always, usually. There are some cases where participating in this may be a sign of weakness, and it may not be something we want to do, but it really, really depends on the case, on the facts, what the prosecutor thinks we know, what evidence we have. There's a lot that can go into that, but usually you're going to want to take advantage of these EDPs. Usually they are really good for the clients. I hope that helps. If you find this video useful, please thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And if you have a criminal case in Los Angeles and you would like a free consultation, please feel free to go ahead and book a consultation at the link below or give me a call.